Hello, friends. My name is Richest D, and welcome to a quick update on Bitcoin. It's a very fast, rough video. I just want to tell you about it as soon as possible. On Friday the 13th, a day considered not so lucky for many, the SEC had a deadline to file an appeal in the lost case against Grayscale. But the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, is not going to challenge the court's decision to convert the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. An article appeared in Reuters about this. And here are the basic details. They will not appeal their loss in court. And that, simply put, greatly increases the chances that a spot rather than futures Bitcoin ETF will be approved. And if one is approved, all the others will be approved. This is what we've been waiting for. I thought it would happen in 2024, but this event changes my views a bit. So, from all of this, I've gleaned a few important points. 1. This will pave the way for other spot Bitcoin ETFs. 2. The SEC had a deadline to appeal the court's decision, which expired at midnight on the night of October 13 to 14. So I think it's a settled issue now. They did not intend to and can no longer appeal. Also, the third. The district court found that the SEC's rejection of Grayscale's application to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF was unreasonable and naive. And even though the SEC has authorized numerous Bitcoin futures ETFs and even Ethereum futures ETFs, the SEC has refused to launch a spot ETF, which is just silly. And the court recognizes this as well. Now look at this. On these green highlighted rectangles here. These are the prices on GBTC and ETH, and in Bitcoin and Ethereum trusts on Grayscale. And now we see Bitcoin trading at a 15.25% discount and Ethereum at a 25.66% discount. But the thing is, last time I showed you this, Bitcoin was trading at a discount of about 21% or so, and Ethereum at about 30%. That is, the discounts are shrinking rapidly. And this graph shows it much more clearly. The discount on Grayscale Bitcoin has dropped from 43% to already 15%. This chart is a bit outdated. But still, what does that mean? That means someone on Grayscale is buying both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it does it solidly, because the discount is shrinking very quickly. Which means the demand is growing. Something's going on. The insiders know something or knew something. And GBTC is a very large Bitcoin fund. As a reminder, it holds about 650,000 Bitcoins. But there are a few other interesting points. For example, former BlackRock director Stephen Schonfeld expects more than just the rapid adoption of spot Bitcoin ETFs, but also an influx of funds of between $150 billion and $200 billion into Bitcoin products over the next 3 years after the launch of the spot ETF. And that's just from BlackRock. Imagine the flood of money if all spot ETFs were approved at the same time. Cash flow would be great at the very least. And if this guy Stephen Schonfeld is right that $150 billion to $200 billion will be invested in Bitcoin over the next 3 years, then we can reach a price of $424,800 per Bitcoin. Which is absolutely insane. That's in April 2028 possible price. However, if we take more conservative projections, for example, the banking giant predicts a price of $8,000 per Ether. And if Ether is worth that much, then based on all the math formulas Bitcoin will be worth $78,800 per coin. Which is 3 times what it is now. That's a very conservative prediction, which makes it very realistic. But there's more good news, which I found interesting. This is Katie Wood, who has appeared on Natalie Brunell's channel. And she was talking about a lot of things, including its price points. And about spot Bitcoin Ether. She said the value of Bitcoin has risen this year due to the regional banking crisis in the US. She didn't mention debt, the debt spiral we are in. She should have done it. I mean, it's really important. But she emphasized the lack of counterparty risk. Thanks to Bitcoin's transparency and decentralization, which is also very positive. Given the recent FTX news that's on the rumor mill right now. Here it is, an example of centralization, and what trust in a counterparty can lead to. She talked about how centralized exchanges are opaque and dangerous structures. You never know what will happen to them and your money they hold. Centralized exchanges are the counterparty that carries the big risks. But a Bitcoin or Ethereum futures ETF also has counterparty risk. You'll have to trust a centralized organization. Unlike a spot ETF, where there is no such risk. As for predictions, the bearish scenario from ARK Invest is $258,000 per Bitcoin. That is 10 X's. And I know everyone wants 100 or 1000 X's. But 10 X's is also a very, very good ROI. Of course, in that time until 2030, the US dollar will devalue another 2x. Which means our 10 X's in purchasing power will turn into 5 X's. The usual scenario for ARK Invest is $680,000. And the most bullish is $1.5 million per Bitcoin in 2030. So despite all the difficulties today, the long-term situation looks good. And how I'm tempted to say that all roads lead not to Rome, but to Bitcoin. Just wanted to put out a quick update. After all, many people ask, what's going on? What does that mean? Is the decision to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF 100% done? No, not 100%. It simply means the SEC is backing off. That Gary Gensler is giving up. He stated that he was going to focus on artificial intelligence. I think he's waving a white flag while saying, hey, I'm so sick of you guys. The other point is that the US Congress is going after him hard and want to nail him to the wall. And we'll see exactly what actually happens. But the fact that Gary is under pressure is without a doubt. He has to wave the white flag when Wall Street gets involved. After all, when BlackRock wants something, it gets it. And we talked about this in the last video. These transcorporations don't even shy away from supporting wars to achieve their goals. What do they have to stick it to some Gary Gensler? My name is Rich D. See you in the new videos. I'll see you soon. Subtitles by Dima Torok.